well, this is never going to work. They talked on the phone a few times before they actually met. Jonathan tried his best to find out anything he could about her before they met in person. He looked her up on Facebook and MySpace, and the only information he could track down for sure was that she had freckles. So their first date was pretty much a blind date. Make that a double date blind date, as they ended up meeting a mutual friend and her boyfriend at Jonathan's apartment, where he cooked dinner for all of them. On the menu was crouton-crusted chicken breast, mashed potatoes, and green bean casserole. Now, Jonathan remembers it being very good. Angie had no comment. After dinner, Jonathan asked if anyone wanted to play on the Wii. He knew Angie had played softball growing up, and since he had played baseball, it seemed only natural that they played a good-natured game of Wii baseball. Now keep in mind that Angie had never played a Wii before and had no clue as to what she was doing or was supposed to do. But she figured with this being their first date, Jonathan would at least take it easy on her and help teach her how to play. And then once the score reached 11-0 in Jonathan's favor, Angie became bored with the game and the whole "in your face" that Jonathan kept yelling every time he got another home run. They then all went to see the movie Mr. Woodcock, which was either a disappointment or a hilarious movie, depending on whether you ask the winner or the loser of the Wii baseball game. After the movie, the four went back to Jonathan so everyone could get their cars and go home. Jonathan remembers that first goodbye being kind of icy and awkward due to his complete and utter dominance in the world of video baseball games. And he was right. Angie said he's lucky she even answered the phone after that display of obnoxious sportsmanship. But the two did begin dating on a regular basis, and after a few months, they both started realizing that the relationship had potential to progress and become permanent. They discovered that they had more in common than they had originally thought, and were even able to finish each other's sentences at times. Angie, in particular, was ready to make this a committed relationship. Every time she would see Jonathan, she wanted to blurt out, "I love you, Jonathan Jones." But she really wanted him to be the first one to say it. And it was during a friend's wedding that Jonathan attended, leaving Angie at home, when it all hit him. It was the spring of 2008, and while he stood around at the reception, he began thinking about how much he missed Angie and how he had wished he had brought her along to the wedding. At one point, he walked outside and he called her just to talk to her and hear her voice. He stayed out there for a while talking on the phone when another friend came out looking for him and said, "Just tell her you love her and get back inside." Angie heard what the guy had said over the phone. Jonathan was put on the spot at that point. So he said the only thing he could have possibly said at that moment, "I've got to go now. I'll see you later." So even though he didn't say the three words that would take this relationship to a whole new level, that evening apart from Angie taught him that he did in fact love her and that he didn't ever want to be apart from her like this again. Now soon after that, I hate interrupting Oz, but soon after that night, Jonathan made sure that Angie knew that he was in love with her, and Angie was relieved that he said it first, and now she could say it as much as she wanted to. On Angie's 22nd birthday, Jonathan had devised a really elaborate plan involving a Kenny Chesney concert, a puppy dog, and an engagement ring. His original idea was to experience his very first Kenny Chesney concert with a woman he loved and then surprise her with a brand new puppy who would be wearing the engagement ring around its neck. Now this plan in his head was very romantic, but Angie's work kept her out of town the night of the concert, so he had to go with plan B. Therefore, what actually happened was Jonathan went to the concert with his friend Austin while Angie sat by herself in a hotel room in Fort Rucker. Once she got back to town, they ended up picking up the puppy together, and later that next week, on Saturday afternoon, Jonathan told Angie to make sure that she wore something nice to his house when she came over. When she got there, she sat down on the couch and started playing with the puppy dog. Jonathan snuck into the other room, grabbed the homemade card that he had made for her, and came back in. She opened it up, and on the inside there was a note that said, "Look up." By that point, Jonathan had the ring out, and he told Angie how much she meant to him and how his love grew for her with each passing day. He then asked Angie if she would give him the honor of being his love, his soulmate, and his wife for life. He then waited patiently for the yes, but instead he got a huge hug and an "of course." After they kissed, laughed, and cried tears of joy for a few minutes, they went to go run errands in Decatur. Jonathan called his parents and several friends and told them the news. They ate at Bob Gibson's barbecue, and on the way home, they stopped by Angie's parents' store where Jonathan asked her dad for permission. A day late, $1 short. Now, while he knew it was kind of out of order, let's remember that Jonathan's kind of slow sometimes. And while he was pretty sure her dad was going to say yes, he had to ask because if you haven't noticed by now, Danny Shaddix is a very large man. The entire time that he asked for Angie's hand in marriage, Angie's smile never left her face. And that day, almost a year ago, has led us all to this celebration tonight. Today, Jonathan and Angie's amazing friendship has become an amazing marriage. In an amazing twist of fate, today is Jonathan's paternal grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary. So the date has already proven to be a great one for one generation of the Jones family, and we all hope that these two make it at least 60 years together. Jonathan and Angie are here tonight with their closest friends and family to laugh and to cry, to dance and to sing, and to celebrate all of the good wishes and prayers that we have for them to enjoy a healthy and happy life together for the rest of eternity. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Jones.